Shalom Yashrala, this is your brother Dawudah, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that root well. And salutation and much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article real quick, which says Czechs rally against warmonger government. All right, now this isn't the first place or the first time that people have been protesting against this here war in Ukraine. All right. Now, and I said this before. Well, I've said actually both of these before. One, I've said that, hey, man, these people and these governments, especially here in America, you should have these Americans out in the streets protesting against their governments. All right. Because of, not to say the backlash, but the blowback effects that they are facing. All right. Because all the things that you complain about is all pretty much coming from this. You know, ultimately it's coming from these governments and, you know, some of the other things that they're doing. But, hey, a lot of this big spending. All right. Or you can always use the excuses like, well, if this shit costs so much, why don't y'all put the money into America versus putting money over into the Ukraine? And what you know is they're finding out, you know, they are just funneling, which we knew this already before, that they were just funneling money back into their pockets. All right. You know, these politicians was so-called sending money over to Ukraine that would just come right back into their own pockets. Right. But nevertheless, you know, where was the outrage of these Americans, you know, who couldn't afford food? All right, when the egg prices was going up, gas prices going up, cost of living is going up, everything else is going up around you. How come you weren't telling your government, hey, why don't you ease the pain with some of this Ukrainian money, man? All right, but then you had it happen over there in France, all right, where the French was, you know, protesting against, you know, where they were telling Emmanuel Macron, the president, hey, man, we need to stop this, man. All right, look, what's it going to be? All right. And this is why it's pushing this man to say, hey, look, we got to put France first. All right. We can't keep over here just blindly following after America, what they're doing. All right. Which is causing dissent between, you know, America's allies. All right. And turn them into enemies, as the scriptures speak about. All right. It says thousands gather in Prague to demand that authorities turn attention away from helping Ukraine and towards facing problems at home. All right. Now, this isn't a far-fetched demand to have. And even if you understood what happened in World War One, all right, to Germany economically, right, at the end of World War One, all right, then when you go into World War Two, the beginning of World War Two, all right, with Germany, and understood what they were going through, right, you see these same nations facing, well, pretty much all these same nations are facing the same thing right about now, man. All right, you had World War One, where, you know, Germany was blamed as the cause of it, and they had to pay back, you know, basically reparations to the other nations for World War One, right? And so they got to a point where they was just like, man, how the hell are we paying all this money to all these other nations, and we can't even feed our own people at home? So we need to create a national socialist party to put ourselves first, right? And then guess what happened after that? You know, you know the story of what happened after that. But nevertheless, these people just started putting themselves first because they had realized they was paying for other countries before they was paying for themselves. How the hell are we feeding your country? We can't even eat over here, right? So now you're starting to see the same little things start to happen around this Ukrainian scenario, all right? All these nations have been depleted of their resources and their money, all right, helping a losing cause, all right? And this should further, how the fuck, I keep, man, it's crazy. People still be thinking that Ukraine is on the up and ups and they win. I'm like, Ukraine is bankrupting other nations trying to stay afloat against one nation, Russia, in which Russia keep getting stronger and stronger. They making, on the Russian side, they over here making pacts and with other superpowers and other nations, the BRICS nations. Everybody's switching over to that. But yet people still having their mind that Russia's over here getting their ass beat by Ukraine, which Ukraine keep needing resupplies. And now the people that's resupplying the Ukraine need resupplies. How the hell that even add up, man? It don't take a genius to figure that shit out, but people still swallow this Babylonian juice as if it's gospel. But let's read on. It says thousands protest in downtown Prague on Sunday, Slovakia, arguing that the Czech government is devoting too many resources to helping Ukraine fight Russia rather than tackling the energy crisis and high inflation at home. And we could take Prague out of this and put any other nation in there, man, because America's facing the same dilemma. All right, you Americans are facing the same thing: the rising cost of housing. All right, the unemployment rate skyrocketing, food going up, gas going up, everything is going up. But guess what? Your government is focusing on sending aid to Ukraine more than sending aid to you Americans. All right, you got the Ohio oil spill. Now think about it: the amount of money that they sent to Ukraine in 1 month, they could have cleaned all that up and fixed everything over there in Ohio. in 1 month and saved all these Americans from their future health issues. But what do? Let's send money to Ukraine, right? How come the people again here in America? But I understand why the people here in America, they live, like the scripture said, they live so carelessly. They don't even watch the news. They don't understand what the hell is really going on. They don't really even give a damn what's going on. If they was actually in tune to some of this stuff, like I said, man, this here beast is running loose. America and its military and its government is the neighborhood dog. The neighborhood dog is going up and down the street, biting all the neighbors and all their kids and shit, and digging up in people's yards and causing a terror in the whole neighborhood, all because of what? The owner of the dog let the damn dog out and they ain't even watching the dog. And whatever, like, we don't know where the dog at. The dog is doing the dog. He just roaming the block doing whatever he doing. Yet you think that the dog, because the dog don't bite you, right? Or you ain't seen the dog really flip out personally, meaning that when you turn your back and the dog get down the block, he ain't biting everybody else, digging up in their yard and everything else like that, chasing the kids down the block. So now your dog is being a terror to the whole damn neighborhood, and you just sitting back watching soap operas in the house, not even noticing what the hell your dog is doing, right? And that's indicative to you Americans and the American government. The American government and its military is the damn dog, right? The neighbors and everybody else is all these other nations. What the hell they doing to them, right? But you, the dog owner, you just inside the house watching TV. You have no idea what the hell the dog is out there doing, right? The dog just come back and eat, and whenever it wants some food, you give him some food, and then he just go down the block. You know what the hell the rest of the dog is doing with the rest of his time, man. Same with these American citizens versus their government, man. They don't really realize what the hell is really going on. And if they did, they would just be like these people, like, look, bro, we're not with this shit no more, because this is a reflection of how we have to live over here, man. All right. So let's go on. It says thousands protest downtown Prague on Sunday, arguing that the Czech government is devoting too many resources to helping Ukraine fight Russia rather than tackling the energy crisis and high inflation at home. Many are calling on the Prime Minister Peter Fiala to resign. All right, the same thing happened again with Emmanuel Macron in France. The Chechnya Against Poverty rally was spearheaded by the opposition party law Respect Expertise Pro 2022. Protesters gathered at Winclass. I can't even pronounce some of this stuff in here. It's going to be another word either. I can't pronounce. But anyway, Winclass Square, condemning what's called the Lion government and carrying the banner that said "No to war, get out of NATO." Right. So this is what the future holds, man. All right. You're going to see more and more of American allies, resent them, turn their backs on them. All right. And this is really what's putting these governments, because the governments is all paid off, right? But it's putting the governments on these hot seats. This is why again, going back to Emmanuel Macron, this is why you're seeing him in the hot seat, because he knows he has his citizens that's ready to burn shit down in this place, man. All right, France is out there. They good with rallying and burning shit down. That's what the fuck they do, right? From the yellow jackets all the way up until this. But nevertheless, they have to worry about, hey, should I be afraid, of the American government and them cutting us off? When are they gonna cut us off from military protection? Who the fuck should we be scared of right about now? Ain't nobody threatening us to begin with. Second of all, the rest of Europe feel the same way. EU feel the same way. So we'll just join together and be our own military. We already in an economic group together called the EU. Why wouldn't we just use the same people in the same group? Just use our military as well together too. Because what good is having an economic group if we can't militarily defend that group? Because somebody come over and take us over. What the fuck good is the economic trade between us if we all under somebody else? So hey, why wouldn't they just band together, man? All right. And the scriptures speak about that the beast shall hate the whore and burn her with fire and eat her flesh, roughly paraphrasing. So this is all leading towards those things, man. All right. Addressing the crowd, and I can't pronounce this, but Jaroslav Foldania, an MP from Freedom and Direct Democracy Party, said that the government needs to go before it destroys the country. And that's really the sentiment of a lot of not just America. All right, well, not really America. This is how America should be feeling, but a lot of these other nations, all right, this is how they feel. Like, look, it's either us and y'all. We see what the hell is going on as the citizens. We see what the hell is going on, and y'all not finna sink our ship so that we wind up dying. Nah, hell nah, bro. Y'all gonna want to benefit and leaving, and we gonna be stuck here with the problem. All right. So it says a protester told AFP that the government is full of warmongers who are making us suffer economically. A group of people in the Ukraine with Ukrainian flags rallied in support of Kiev in the center of the capital at around the same time. Members of opposing camps shouted at each other, but were ultimately separated by police. The similar anti-government demonstration was held last month. More than a dozen people were arrested and scuffles with the police broke out at that event. The monthly cost of living has increased for most Czechs, and up to 70% of households were forced to resort to austerity measures, according to the survey released by pollsters meeting in January. At the same time, Prague has supplied heavy weapons to Ukraine, including 89 tanks, and has backed economic sanctions imposed on Russia by the EU. More than 46,000 Ukrainian refugees arrived in Czech Republic after the February 2022, and around 300,000 of them are still in the country, according to Euronews. Last year, the Czech Parliament adopted a law aimed at providing assistance to refugees, which was recently exhausted until April 2024. And you just think about that, man. These are all problems that America is causing, because America's not getting a mass influx of Ukrainians crossing their borders. Now, let's just say hypothetically, if America was going to war with like Mexico or Canada or some shit, or causing some type of conflict with them, then you would get a large influx of those immigrants coming over at that point in time, and that would be caused by, let's just say hypothetically, Russia was about to wage war against Mexico or some shit. Then you have Mexicans crossing the border up there. That would be like the same thing that's going on over here because of what America's doing. All right, you have these people in the place that America has beef with crossing the borders and putting strain on their economy that they have to feed, house, and take care of these people, man. All right, all because like, bro, how the fuck, y'all didn't, this might be even like your relatives and stuff like that, man. Or let's just say you got your old lady, right? Your old lady got to be all catty and shit, so she go to work with her homegirl, and they out there doing the most. Oh, girl, you gonna let the boss talk to you like that? That nigga don't know what the fuck he talking about. This is now you done got Keisha fired from the job. Now Keisha got 3 little baby kids she got to take care of, and she about to lose her apartment. Now, Keisha, girl, why you tell me this is that? Girl, don't worry about this. You can come stay with me. So now you got loudmouth Keisha and her 3 baby kids up in your house, all because your old lady wanted to gas her up. Now these people in your house taking up all your resources, eating all your Cheerios and all your cornflakes and everything else like that. It's the same thing that's going on here, man. All right. You have America on the other side of the globe, right? Like the husband at home that don't go to work with Keisha and them, right? Just minding their business, right? Well, they not really minding the citizens are minding their business. The American government got some shit going on, which would be, the wife gassing up, let's say, I don't know, another nation. Let's just say whatever other nation they got. Well, hell, we'll use the real problem, right? You got well, I was gonna say that would be over on this side, but let's just use like one of these issues here. You got an issue in Ukraine, right? That America started. Now the people, Big Mouth Keisha and her kids, got to flee from Ukraine or the job, right? Now they trying to move in with you. You taking them in as refugees, but now that you took them in as refugees, guess what? You got to feed them, house them, and everything else. Take up all their problems, different how you call it, customs and things like that you may not be used to. That these people all used to. That you got to sit there and imagine if because America's not a Muslim, a predominantly Muslim country. Imagine if America was a Muslim country, and every they pray 5 times a day at certain points of times. They play off their little their little music thing that they call to prayer, and that was all over America. These Americans would be tripping, man. They're like, man, what the fuck is going on here, man? All right, well, this is what y'all cause, man. All right. So it says, that was the end of the article. So let's just jump into some scriptures here, right? This is Luke 21:9. It says, but when you should hear, going into, well, let's just read verse 7. And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign? And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass? All right, the question is asked a little bit clearer in Matthew 24 about what are the signs of that coming in the end of the world, right? And so we're here right about now. So jumping into verse 9, all right, it says, but when you should hear of wars, right, like in Matthew 24, wars and rumors of wars, right? But here it says wars and commotions. All right, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. So, also going into these commotions, part of the commotion when you have wars breaking out, you have things that spiral out of control as well too. So just like how America directly, a lot of these countries aren't directly in war with Russia, so to say. Like they don't have troops fighting back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like even America, right? America ain't getting bombed over that shit right about now. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? America's feeling the blowback of all that shit, man. The economic toll that it's taking on America, man. Europe is taking a huge economic hit. This is why I say it's funny to me that people keep saying that Ukraine is winning this here war. And I'm like, go ask them niggas over in Europe how cold it is or how warm they can get, how much energy they can use, how much they can afford groceries. The niggas that's not even in the war. We're not talking about people that's dying on the battlefield. We're talking about people that's at home snugly freezing to death in their goddamn house that can afford bread, food, and eggs and shit. You bum ass Americans over here that's over here. Y'all ain't even fighting the war, but you feeling the effects of the war. So you tell me who winning the goddamn war. Meanwhile, Russian them over here setting up a whole global, you know, economic trade system to be moving oil around. You know, oil is the life force of the whole earth, man. Fuck your military. If you ain't got no oil or no gas to put up in them the machineries, you ain't doing shit with it, man. All right. Also with grain and stuff like that, man. So I mean, it's comical people will be talking about this shit, but whatever. But nevertheless, going back into these wars and commotions that's going on, I mean, you got these protests going on. You got these refugees that's going on. All right. And all this stuff is leading to what? Destabilization of governments, man. All right. Causing them to make a real decision of what the hell we're going to have to do. All right. So verse 8 again, it says, take heed that you be not deceived, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and the time draw near. Go not therefore after them. I didn't mean to read that, but it's all right. Verse 9, but when you shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. So again, we ain't at the very end. You know, we still have Obadiah 1 and 7 to take place, Revelation 17 and 16 to take place. You know, the peace, hate, and the whore. All thy allies, you know, all the men of thy confederacy, you know, have brought thee even to the border. You know, they promise you peace while plotting to destroy you, right? All that has to take place. But how is that all, you know, being built up to take place? Through these things, you know, like you see with the Ukrainian situation that's going on. And that left a bad taste. You know, the EU, they're not really happy about this. They're over here trying to recover and stay warm and figure out what the hell they're going to do in this here scenario, man. So it's a lose-lose situation for them, man. All right, now, even for America, if America and NATO, if NATO led by America and America and them pull out of Ukraine, all right, then the rest of NATO and everybody else is going to look at America as a weakling. And so, you know, America has that bravado as the biggest dog on the block, and some people are still scared of it, but you have nations calling them out now. Let them go ahead and pull out of Ukraine as a so-called loss right about now, and then they'll like, oh yeah, these niggas are definitely ready for the take, and they ain't even got a leg to stand on right now, man. Their allies will all flee from them. So this is the setup that you're seeing happen. All right. We can read verse 25 as well, too. There should be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity and the seas and the waves roaring, because you got a lot of economic issues going on with these different nations, plus with the war that's going on. All right. So, hey, man, you have a lot of people that's uproaring around the globe for a bunch of different things. And like I just said, it's not as easy as just 1, 2, 3, because you pull out of one thing, then all right, well, you got another problem over. Like I said, if America pull out of Ukraine, then that's their face card right there, man. They can't just swiftly pull out. But if they keep going, pressing gas forward, you know Russia's a nuclear power, right? Like this is what baffles me about this shit. People be like, oh, well, Ukraine could win. Ukraine is winning. But like y'all forgot that Russia is the only other people who got a comparable size of nukes comparably to America. The fuck? Bruh, whatever, bruh. But anyway, I ain't even gonna get into all that. But these people have no idea how it would end if Russia really was to push the button on their ass, man. But it's all good. Let's go from there. So I wanted to speak on to these. I guess I can read the whole thing. Speak on this little rock and hard spot. But this is 2 Ezra 15 and verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. So this is ultimately, you know, where the world's going to start going to. All right. You have a lot of people uprising against one another, protesting against one another, taking things into their own hands. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So, hey, as they having these protests and things like that, man, all right, you're going to start seeing people rally up against their governments, overthrowing governments and things like that, man. So this is what some of these governments are afraid of right about now, man. They're like, you know what? Hey, you know, we see that, you know, our people are starting to uprise against us for falling out there. I mean, we got to do something before they come up in here and storm the palace. Then America really going to be upset because they're not going to have their puppet in play no more. We'll have a whole destabilized France. You see what I'm saying? And that's not going good right about now, man. So they got to do something real quick, fast, and in a hurry. So this is all a part of this here scenario that's being taken place, man. All right, you know, we can read this as well, too, and go ahead and close out with that. But we don't want to read in Obadiah. Well, we're reading in Obadiah. You could have read in Revelation as well too. But Obadiah 1:7 says, all the men of thy confederacy have bought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. And they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there is no understanding in him. And when you read this in NLT, it says, while promising you peace, they're plotting to destroy you, to deceive and destroy you. And so right now, you have some of these world leaders like, Emmanuel Macron, who's toting the line. He's the only one really openly that's speaking against this, right? But you get more and more people stepping up to the plate. But nevertheless, you got these other EU nations that feel the same exact way, which I did a video on this not too long ago. They feel the same exact way. They just hadn't openly voiced it. But please believe that they're working on a plan behind the scenes to fix this here issue that they have. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rakakudash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and never will. And salutation and much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.